On this episode of I'm Not a Lawyer, but the Debrief.
But I just want to highlight the end of Young Miami's letter. I truly believe that he belongs at home with his family, the people who mean the most to him and who continue to be his greatest source of purpose and strength. Judge, that's a good man. The ending of Deontay Nash's letter, because it's a call out to Carisha, Young Miami's letter. He ends his letter saying, for all of these reasons, I respectfully urge the court to deny his request for early release and to deny his 14-month suggestion. Judge, this is not a good man. Everybody got to stop writing letters.
Now, if you're not ready, then go ahead and tell me you're not ready.
I object to you getting records. You've been intrusive into people's personal lives.
I'm not a lawyer, but I'm not a lawyer, but
The Debrief.
here we go. Hello and welcome to another episode of I'm Not a Lawyer, but
The Debrief.
I am Melanie, aka I'm Not a Lawyer, but, and I'm joined by my co-host.
Gooseby. How y'all doing?
We are not lawyers or legal experts, but we have a podcast called The Debrief where we talk about legal things. I attempt to give you the fact side of things, and Greg just gives you his opinion.
Yep.
Sometimes y'all agree, sometimes you don't. But there's a few things on the docket that have happened over the week. Also because Greg missed last week and a few people were commenting. We had a good episode. We had Attorney Stara on In Your Place, and she gave us some really good insights into Texas law and the case and her thoughts about it. So that was really fun. But we didn't get your insight on that case.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Tony Earls Jr. was the case of the man who him and his wife went to an ATM, a Chase Bank ATM at night. While they were there, they get robbed at gunpoint. The robber runs off. Tony Earls Jr. gets out of his vehicle, starts shooting with his registered firearm. And he starts shooting at the robber as the robber is running away, which is legal. Okay, in Texas, you are allowed to shoot at a robber who has just robbed you in an attempt to get your belongings back. You can do that. The problem for Tony Earls Jr. is at one point he loses sight of the robber, and next thing he knows, he sees a vehicle coming. He assumes that this is the getaway car for the robber, so he starts shooting at the vehicle. That vehicle had a family in it. He ends up shooting and killing a 9-year-old little girl. And so he was charged with manslaughter. He opted for the jury to sentence him after the verdict, and his team was asking for probation, and the prosecutors were asking for 20 years, the maximum. And the jurors ended up sentencing him to the maximum of 20 years. Let me get your thoughts on the situation. And then I want to play a clip of Tony Earls taking the stand before he was sentenced, and he gave words to the family because I have thoughts there. But your thoughts on, I have gotten a lot of comments, a lot of discourse on every single platform that I posted my recaps on about this story, of people feeling a lot of different ways. He shouldn't have gotten out of the vehicle. He shouldn't have pursued. Also, every bullet that leaves your gun, you are responsible for. So you got to know what you're shooting at and what you're shooting and what's behind your target. You got to know your target and what's behind your target. A lot of kind of discourse. What is your thoughts, input, take?
This is why everybody shouldn't be able to purchase a pistol without the proper training. There should be a legal mandate that if you have a pistol, that you have to go shooting every month. You need to know how to handle your weapon, period. The way that man got out the car was reckless. The way he was shooting was reckless. Even after he finished doing all of the shooting and the car was apparently driving off, you can see in the video, he's running and he's like, bow. He's just looking this way and he shoots in whatever direction. After looking at that, I say it's reckless. And I was going shooting with Kev for a while, and we learned how to handle the weapon. I would have got out the car.
That's what I was going to ask you. Would you have gotten out of the vehicle?
He would have got hit.
You would have got, because the law allows you to. Is that what you're saying? I said you would have. I think younger you would have. I think today's you would not, actually.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was about to say. If I would have got out of the car, I would have hit him. Dude wouldn't have got you to the distance they were. He should have got hit. But the way that guy was shooting crazy, 10 shots, that is crazy. And 10 shots after you say that you know, he ran behind this wall or a building.
He lost sight of him.
He lost sight of him, and you kept shooting. So you messed up. Now though, I would have been like, he got your purse. I ain't nah. And he has a gun, so he could shoot back and kill you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we would have chucked that up as a loss. Like, dang, all right, well, let's go. You know, Earl getting out the car and his heart pumping, his adrenaline pumping. And I mean, you really don't, he might not have had control of what was happening. But if you train and you go shooting and go through these scenarios, he would have simply stepped out that car and he would have shot that dude. 20 years, I would say 5, because we know he did not go out that day to go shoot and kill this little girl. I couldn't have given him 20 years, just on the simple fact that I know he didn't try to do that.
I want to play. So what, like I said, before the sentence came down, he had the option to give some word. He asked to give words, and I want to share, put my earpiece in, some of the words that he gave. He's on the stand. He says this to the Alvarez family.
And you made a request, didn't you?
Yes.
What was that?
To speak to the Alvarez family.
What did you want to tell them?
After 3.5 years, I never had a chance to ask them for forgiveness. I pray and I ask God for forgiveness all the time. And I can't get past me not asking them to forgive me for my mistakes that I made that night, my decisions that I made. I just want to ask them, can they find it deep in their heart to forgive me for my actions?
Mr. Earls, how do you feel about the fact that you took the life of a 9-year-old girl?
I can't sleep at night. I beat myself up.
I honestly, as I was watching him retell the entire story, obviously that's a clip and it's actually from kind of the later part of his statement on the stand, but you can tell that he feels so much remorse and he's so apologetic and he's like, he will never forgive himself. The mental jail is probably worse than the physical one. He probably will never forgive himself. My problem is, how come his attorneys, before he went on that stand, how come his attorneys didn't say, hey, it sounds very selfish of you to say, please forgive me, and you haven't said, I'm sorry. Don't get on the stand and say, because you took their child. It is so it is you trying to sleep at night is why you're asking for forgiveness. Your word should be, you don't ever have to forgive me. I just want you to know I'm sorry. I did not mean to take your daughter's life, and it's unfair that happened to you, and I did that and I will never forget. That should have been the angle. And instead he got up there, and in my opinion, I don't think that was his intention. I think that he wasn't coached properly. I think what he was probably trying to articulate is, is that he's sorry, and instead just asked for forgiveness. And those are the wrong words. And so when you couple that with what he later said on cross, when the prosecutors are asking him questions and he won't own, I did it and I'm sorry, he wouldn't own it. Even when you're trying to fight for your life, it feels like there's a line you got to walk. And I don't think he walked it very well. And I think that's why he ended at 20 years. All right, let's move on to Diddy. There are some things happening. There's a lot of things happening with Diddy, right? He is going to be sentenced on Friday, October 3rd. We are recording this episode on Wednesday. If you're in the Patreon, you are live watching it with us. It will be released on Friday. That is the day he is going to be sentenced. So if you're watching this on Friday, we don't know his sentence yet. Don't get in the comments trying to stone me because I don't have the information yet. So if I say something incorrect, it's because I don't know what his sentence will be. Okay. Now, that said, I'm going to talk about a little bit of what's been going up leading up to this sentence. And that is, Diddy previously submitted a motion for a new trial as well as a motion for an acquittal. And that's because the acquittal was based on, basically, he says what he was convicted of, which is the Mann Act, has to do with prostitution. And in his opinion, the two required components of prostitution aren't in this case. And so according to him, prostitution requires that he, meaning Diddy, must have had a commercial or financial reason. He was doing these acts for the purpose of money. And they are arguing he's Diddy. He wasn't doing it for money. He was actually giving money. He wasn't getting money. And then secondly, he argued that prostitution requires money for sex bilaterally, meaning I'm paying you to have sex with me. And so because in this instance, it was him doing the paying and the sex was happening with the man and another person, not him, they're saying literally this is not prostitution because prostitution has to be this person, the exchange happens between these two people. That's not what happened. And so that's what they argued. The judge said, no, nice try. And one of the reasons he says that is because during trial, when they had to define prostitution for the jury, what Diddy's team said, what they said should be said to the jury is that prostitution is sex in exchange for money or its equivalent. It didn't say that it had to be bilateral. It didn't say, all the other things he was trying to argue. And so the judge was like, if we use the definition you told us to use at trial, this still fits. And so nice try. No. So he denied the request, the motion for the acquittal. And then the motion for a new trial is because I think we talked about this before. Diddy's team was arguing that because he was charged with the RICO and sex trafficking, all of the evidence for those charges kind of spilled over. And that is why he was convicted of the Mann Act. So he was saying, had I had a trial separate, right, a Mann Act trial separate from the RICO and the sex trafficking, I wouldn't have been convicted on the Mann Act because it's all the bad stuff that came in for those other charges. That's why I was convicted. That's what they argued. His team, the judge said no again. And essentially he said he had some case law. The burden to prove this is really high. But what the judge said is the very fact that you were found not guilty on those other claims proves that it's fine because the things that you're saying spilled over, you weren't even convicted of. So he said no. So anyway, his motions were denied. And so now we're at the, again, sentencing phase. And in preparation for that sentencing phase, Diddy had a number of character statements submitted on his behalf. Those letters came from his mother, his children. And if you haven't read Christian Combs's letter, matter of fact, let me pull it up. It is a time. Young Miami also submitted a letter. And the CEO of the hair company submitted it was a bunch of people submitting letters on his behalf, basically arguing that the judge should be lenient and should allow him to get out. He is asking for probation, or he is at no, not probation, excuse me. He is asking to be sentenced to 14 months. And Diddy was locked up on September 16th, 2024. So he actually just hit 12 months, where today is October 1st. So we're a little over 12 months.
Mhm.
So he's basically asking to be in there for another 2 months and then to be out. The prosecutors want him to be locked up for 11 years and 1 day, I think is the total time. So that's the difference. They are like 14 months, 14 months, basically another 2 months, month and a half, let him out. And the prosecutors are like 11 years and a month.
Also, I don't want anybody sending in letters for me,
Oh my
character
gosh.
letters for me that aren't upstanding citizens. I mean, I don't want any rappers. Hey man, let my boy out, my partners down the street.
Well, they
I
always
want the CEOs of these companies that I've been working with. I want the mayors of cities, governors. I want some big wigs, not Young Miami.
Well, that was his. I think the part of the reason is because she was in a relationship with him.
Oh man,
And
I
she
want
says in her
somebody
letter that she was in a relationship with him, the mother of his youngest
significance.
child.
I need somebody that holds some weight.
Well, some of these people do, but I think the other problem is there is your letters get filed. If they get filed openly, the public has access to them, and we can read who is either in support or not support of a particular person. And if you disagree with that particular person, now you may judge them. We saw it with Tory Lanez, and the other guy, not the one who did Ashton Kutcher write a letter for? Danny Masterson. So anytime these letters are submitted, they get released to the public, and now whatever side you are on, you're now looking at that person a certain way. Let's look at it. Hold on. Here it is. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's one of the shorter ones. But he's saying, "Dear Judge, I'm asking you to please let my father out of jail. He does not deserve to be there, and I know this from the bottom of my heart. We have been through a year of lies and discrimination and dehumanization and loneliness and separation and extreme stress on the family. This is my dad, and he is the best father in the whole world. He has never taught me anything but to treat people with the most respect possible and to never be entitled and to always work for what I want and to treat people with love and kindness, most importantly." I will skip some of this and go towards the end. "Please let my father out of prison. He does not deserve to be there and has already been in jail for a year. This has been the worst year anyone could ever go through. Please let him out. This is driving me crazy and my family crazy. I'm asking for grace and compassion to the family. Please let my dad out of jail. I've seen my dad help thousands of people, give back millions of dollars, and show love to everyone and never treat anyone foul. Please let my dad out of jail. Me and my sisters and brothers don't have a mom. With my dad still in jail, it feels like I have no one at all, and it's really a scary feeling that I can't take. Please, please don't make this feeling a reality. I would not be able to handle that at all. Please, God, please, Judge, please let my father out of jail." So I skipped the middle part, but as you can imagine, it's a lot of "please let my father out of jail." It is, reading it, it sounds like a son who has no other words but like, "Please, you don't understand." So anyway, it is worth the read if you haven't read it. If you're in the Patreon, I posted all of the letters, all of the documents in there. And then the other one I want to quickly read is from Young Miami. Because her letter, I just want to highlight the end of it.
She has Diddy's they had a baby?
No.
Oh, I thought you said
the mother of his child did submit a letter, but that's not Young Miami.
Oh, okay. That's different too. The letter from mom, son, loved ones, I accept that. That's what I expect. But, my girlfriend, my girl got
Well,
a
I think that's it.
girlfriend.
The only reason why I think it makes an impact is because the people who got on the stand were his girlfriends. So the fact that you are trying to counter with two of his previous girlfriends have said, and the fact that you can have a letter from a more recent girlfriend
Mhm.
and say otherwise. I think that that's the significance of it.
Mm.
It's like someone countering and showing he is different, you know, her being able to speak to that. But I just want to highlight the end of Young Miami's letter, because at the end she says, in my personal experience, Sean is not a danger or a threat to the community. He is a man of God, someone who uplifts, supports, and inspires those around him to be better mentally, physically, and spiritually. But more than anything, he's a father, and his kids are the ones who look up to him the most. They need him. His presence, love, and guidance matter deeply in their lives. I truly believe that he belongs at home with his family, the people who mean the most to him and who continue to be his greatest source of purpose and strength. Judge, that's a good man. Thank you, Carisha Brownlee. Her ending with Judge, that's a good man, actually proves your point. That is not the person. Why would you end with Judge, that's a good man? When the judge was in that courtroom and saw all of the evidence about how not good, and regardless of how you feel about the charges, what he saw was the videos, the video of him and Cassie. So that was such a choice. And so in response to the defense submitting all these letters, the government has letters submitted as well. They have some victim impact statements submitted. And one of the people who submitted a letter is Deontay Nash, who was a stylist for Cassie and Diddy, I think. He testified in the trial to some of the violence he witnessed between Diddy and Cassie. And so he submitted a letter. And I want to share with you the ending of Deontay Nash's letter, because it's a call out to Carisha, Young Miami's letter. He ends his letter saying, I do not expect him to be in jail forever, but I am praying for a sentence that allows the victims to heal and encourages Mr. Combs to genuinely change. For all of these reasons, I respectfully urge the court to deny his request for early release and to deny his 14-month suggestion. He has been fighting the truth for the past year, and this ongoing denial is causing additional harm to the mental well-being of the victims. Survivors deserve safety, the public deserves protection, and justice demands accountability. Judge, this is not a good man. Thank you so much for your time. Your consideration means a great deal to me and to the victims. Respectfully, Deontay Nash. At this point, everybody got to stop writing letters. Everybody stop. No more letters. If you are asked to submit a letter, don't. Okay? You write it in your diary, but don't you submit it to the lawyer, because if you say that, we are all going to talk bad about you. Anyway, all right. What are you? Do you have
11
any
years?
That's what I was gonna say. What are your thoughts? What are your? I don't want to say bets. That feels inappropriate.
I saw somebody made a comment about 11 years for a prostitution charge. Is wild.
I agree.
Come on now.
So what? That's what I'm saying. What do you think?
If that's what they're sentencing him for is prostitution?
The Mann Act. Yeah, that's the only thing he got convicted of.
Yeah. Okay. No. 2 5 years.
You think 2 to 5?
Yeah. If they're trying to just, get him on all this other stuff he's done, but 2 to 5 for the prostitution, and that's heavy,
I feel I could see 2 years. I wouldn't be surprised if he got 2.
I would say 2 to 5 is
2.5, 3. I don't see him. I think 2. I feel like the judge would give him 2. We'll see. I don't think he's going to get 11. I think that that's excessive, and I think that there are not other cases that would support a judge being that extreme on the case, on the sentence for him. However, I think that the judge was not happy with Diddy, and I think that the evidence, he would argue and has argued that he has said it even in the bail denials for bail. He has said that he is proven to be violent and that he has, these victims, and that he, addresses them or harasses them or whatever. So based off of the previous actions of the judge, I would be surprised if Diddy goes home or gets 14 months. But I think 11 years would be excessive. I feel like he's going to get like 2 to 3. That's my thought.
Yeah.
But we'll
I
see.
agree.
Someone in the Patreon is saying 18 months. Crimes against women and children is almost always 18 months. So maybe 18 months. We'll see, you know? So yeah, by the time this comes out, you'll probably know the actual sentence. So comment if I was close or way off.
I can submit a letter, right?
To who?
To Diddy, to the judge for Diddy.
I think letters are closed.
Oh.
The sentencing is on Friday.
I'm like, man, I used to listen to his music. Got me through some.
I don't think that he
No?
would need that.
Okay.
Moving on. Before I talk about this next case, I want to say something because I saw a comment. And if you are new here or unfamiliar, or maybe this feels very different than my like recap videos, that is true. This is a podcast, so it is a completely different feel than the videos where I just give you facts, and that is my only goal. Here is the point is to talk about them. However, if you are new here, you may be confused if some of the conversation feels a little more lighthearted and these are heavy topics. I got a comment last week that was like, you guys are laughing and somebody died. Yes. If we are having a conversation and it feels, I think specifically it was because in the last episode we were talking about David, and there was a part where I was saying like lyrics are not, to be used against people. And then I played the clip of him saying like, I killed you. And it was like, oh, the irony here deserves a chuckle. So we chuckled and somebody was not okay with that. Please know, here's the disclaimer. I am always mindful, trying to be mindful, respectful of victims, of people, of defendants, even because they should be innocent until proven guilty. Those are always things that we are aware of. And so any laughing is never directed at somebody dying. That's literally not the case ever. And so if that is a turnoff for you, I understand you turning off this podcast. This may not be the podcast for you because we are going to have conversations about things. It is always meant to be respectful, and it is never I'm never laughing at or about somebody dying or being a victim. Just so we're clear. That said, we probably won't be laughing at all. There is no light conversation to be had about this case that I've been avoiding, but everyone has been telling me to cover. And so I'll probably now be doing a recap, but I try to avoid cases about children because as a mother, it's just really heartbreaking. And when there are cases with children that are just completely heartbreaking and completely pointless, it's hard for me, right? Like I tend to spend my time looking at cases that have an interesting legal angle just because I'm interested in law. Like that actually is what drives my interest. Like, oh, the Tony Earl's case. Oh, but he was robbed. And so how does this fit? How does this, what happens? That is what drives my interest. When it is straight up brutality, I tend to not be engaged. But this next case, I got a lot of interest. And so I started looking at it and have cried many times. And it's the case, it's in Memphis, Tennessee. Tennessee versus Brandon Isabel is the man's name. And let me pull up a picture of him just so you can see who I'm talking about. And it's blurry, but Brandon Isabel, in 2022, he was working at FedEx and he had gotten a girl there pregnant. They had like a very short kind of romantic relationship. Her name was Danielle. And kind of shortly into his romantic relationship with Danielle, he begins dating another girl who worked at FedEx, and her name was Artisha. So Danielle gets pregnant, and he is now like deeply in love with Artisha. And so as the time is getting closer to this baby having to be born, they're having a little girl, Artisha begins to feel away, basically. And so the day the baby is born, January 31st, they have these text messages, meaning Brandon and Artesia, and she is basically breaking up with him because it's, too much, and that's your baby, and you need to get a DNA test. So I will just quickly play some of the text messages. Again, this is from the day that the baby was born. He's actually like at the hospital. It actually starts with him talking about he's going to the hospital. So I'm just going to play some of it just so you kind of get a feel of what's happening. This is a detective reading off text messages between Brandon and Artesia.
Yes.
Okay, you can start.
Okay. I'm gonna go to the hospital.
And that's I'm not gonna do this for everyone, but just to get us started though, when is that sent?
11:49 p.m.
On January 30th?
January 30th, 2022.
Why? She in labor?
She said she 5 centimeters at first. Now she's saying she 5.5.
Oh, good luck. Congrats.
Don't be like that, baby.
I'm sleepy as hell, I think.
Yeah. I love you.
I love you. What does that mean?
Well, that's when she highlights that text message, but it's just putting a heart on the text message, not actually responding.
Okay.
Baby, say it back.
Love, baby, say it back. Phone
It's being petty. I'm very pissed if you can't tell.
You text that, but can't say you love me back.
Get there safely.
Wow.
Good night.
You doing this to me in a time like this?
Tell her to have a safe delivery. I'll talk to you when y'all get the results.
Wow. I can't even get I love you too, baby text back. Wow.
Like, I'll talk to you when you get all the results. Let me know the results. My stomach hurts, so the relationship at stake. And 10 DM, never mind.
What you mean at stake?
Nothing get there. I'm fitting to go MIA though.
Nah, what you mean at stake?
I'm gonna jump ahead.
Do you want this or no?
Oh.
Do you want to be with me or no?
No, I think she couldn't be in the way. Good night though.
All right. So I wanted actually to get to that point where she says, he says, do you want to be with me or no? And she says no, because I think she's going to be in the way. So he is literally at the hospital. He was there for the birth of his daughter, and he is texting her, and they're having this very emotional conversation because he's having this baby with this girl, and he's in love with Artesia, and obviously she's feeling away. So the baby is born in the early morning between 1 and 2 o'clock a.m. on January 31st. Danielle, the mother of the baby, gets out of the hospital on February 1st. So she gets out within a day. And so when the baby, on February 1st, so she's 2 days old, the baby, Danielle goes home. She spends time with her family. Her mother gets to see the baby. Everybody's excited. She comes from like a family of 9. So all the kids are there. Everybody's excited. Brandon texts Danielle to meet him, to give her some baby clothes or something like that. She goes to meet him, and then she never comes home. What happens is her car was discovered in Tennessee on a road that a lot of people abandon stolen cars. And so when the police see it, they think it's a stolen car. They run the tag, they get her name, they have somebody go to Danielle's house to say, hey, who drives the car? The officers who are still at the scene of the car, it's like pouring, raining. Eventually the officers get out of their car and go up to the vehicle. And what they find is Danielle dead on the side. She's been shot, I think 5 times. He shot her. And they go back to the mom's house and they're like, hey. And so the mom is like, she should have been with her daughter, her 2-day-old. So the police are now like, where is the baby? Where is the baby? Because we found Danielle now. Where is the baby? So they're trying to find this 2-day-old baby named Kennedy. And they are unsuccessful in doing so. There's a lot of in between. And again, if I do the recap, you'll be able to follow the story fully. But what ends up happening is that Brandon eventually is taken to the police station. He is questioned, and he at first readily admits that he shot Danielle over this other girl. He wanted to be with her, and basically Danielle was in the way of him being with the love of his life, Artesia, and he needed her out of the way. And so that is what drove him to do that. They are like asking him repeatedly, where is this baby? Where is the baby? Where is the baby? And he is not readily admitting where the baby is at first. And so he tells them that she was he put her by a river in her car seat. He left her there. And the police are like, we searched the river and she's not there. And he's like, that's where I put her. So they drive him out to the river, and they're like, show us where she is. And he keeps saying, there, over there, over there. They have divers, they have copters, they have everything trying to find this 2-day-old child, and they are unsuccessful. And I'm just going to play a clip from, they had been out there for a long time, and it's some Black men who are the officers and investigators, and they had just searched, and one of them gets in the car, and you're going to be able to hear the frustration in this man's voice, because he's like, where is the baby? Just tell us where the baby is. So I'm just going to play. The audio is not the greatest, like always, but bear with me.
Bullshit, bro. Everybody that been all the way down through there. That baby wasn't here. I came here. Who did you tell? I didn't tell anybody.
Where did you leave the baby at, Brandon?
Where y'all just went?
Bullshit. Where'd you leave? Bullshit, Brandon. Where the fuck did you leave her?
Right where y'all just went.
Brandon, you a fucking lie. You a fucking lie. Where did you leave her at?
I should have warned you. I'm so sorry. They are frustrated, and in that frustration, there are a ton of curse words, because they are trying to figure out where this baby is.
Down there, sir. You say y'all saw it.
Where's she at, Brandon?
You say y'all saw it through the cameras. I came here.
Where's she at?
That location.
Where is she at?
She should be down there.
You threw your gun down there, right?
Yes, sir.
Where that baby at, Brandon? Where is your daughter at?
She should be down there. She not down there.
Son.
Where'd you leave that baby?
Listen to me, okay? Right now, you've already did unspeakable, okay? Now it's time to get it all out, right? Get it all out. Right here, right now. Okay? Right here, okay? Where's she at? Where's she at? Dip. The truth. Where's she at? Not right here, cause she's not. Was it right there by the water?
No.
What you have on when you brought it?
What I have on right now?
Individual, female answer the door about,
No, sir.
the male on the left.
Brandon, we have got to find this child. We got to find this child. Stop.
No, sir.
Ain't no way. Brandon, did you do something to this baby? Sir. Did you do something to this baby, Brandon? Sir. Brandon. Because if you place the baby where you say you placed the baby, then we would have the baby, Brandon. We would have the baby.
You see why I was trying to avoid this, because it is sad. And so what ends up happening is they are unsuccessful in finding this child. And I think as you are hearing them, they keep saying, like, did you take her somewhere? Is she somewhere else? And you just don't want to tell us, like, don't have us out here looking for her and she's somewhere else. And so they're trying to, like, she's not here, so she's somewhere. And so they're asking, either did you take her or did you put her in the water? And for the longest, he is denying putting her in the water. He's saying, I just placed the car seat by the water. I didn't put it in. Eventually, he gets to the point where it may have gone in the water. I don't know. I turned around. It may have gone in the water. And that eventually turns into, they go back to the interrogation room, and he eventually admits that he didn't have her in the car seat. He instead carried her down in his arms. I'm literally about to cry. This is why I avoid these cases. Carried her down, 2 days old, in his arms, and then tossed this child in the water. And they have never been able to find her. So I was going to play the clip. I don't even want to play it now because it is him finally admitting what he did to his child. So Danielle's mother testified, obviously. Artesia, the woman that he was so in love with, testified. Of course, all of the officers and investigators testified, because one of the things that they found, and this is kind of why they knew he was not telling the truth or something was off, is because when they first got to the water around that area, they found her hat. The baby's hat was like out. And so they were like, did you take it off? Like, at what point did it fall off of her head? Anyway, the jury took less than 2 hours to convict him. They have a full confession of him, right? And his defense, which is what I because I was like, I gotta find some kind of legal angle, because this is just otherwise heartbreaking. And like, why should I cover this? Like, this is terrible. So I was like, how do you defend yourself when you have a confession, when you have yourself saying what you did and why you did it? And his defense attorneys were basically like, it's beyond reasonable doubt. And they started pointing the finger at Artesia, like she had the motive to do it. So they were trying to point the finger at her, but the jury took less than 2 hours. They convicted him. And apparently Tennessee is also a state that has where the jury can also sentence you. So they convicted him, and the sentence may be back now. I should check, because they were back this morning to deliberate on his sentence. It is either life with or without parole. I don't think it was death penalty. I'm not sure though. I'm still trying to get through all of it so that I will make the recap. But yeah. Oh, did it come in? Let me just.
Roseville. According to the documents provided by the foreperson of this jury, we, the jury, unanimously find that the state has proven the following: aggravating circumstance or circumstances beyond a reasonable doubt. The murder was committed against a person less than 12 years of age, and the defendant was 18 years of age or older. We, the jury, unanimously agree that the defendant shall be sentenced to imprisonment for life. You will return to this court on October 31st for the status report on the remaining charges. As to count 2, life imprisonment. As to count 1, was an automatic life sentence. And we'll pick up on counts 4 and 5, the aggravated child abuse and the especially aggravated kidnapping, on November 12th for a sentencing hearing after receiving this pre-sentence report. Thank you.
Okay, so they're still going to come back. Seems like those were life charges regardless, so seems like they're going to come back. The other thing, again, to know that is worth noting, not again, but he did this on his 25th birthday. His birthday was February 1st, and this happened he was turning 25. He also, at the time, was married. So he was married, it seems like in the process of getting a divorce, had Danielle, who he had impregnated, and then was in love with Artesia. It is upsetting.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing to say on that one.
This is why I don't do these cases. When you're in my comments and you're telling me, because I'm gonna be crying in the videos. Like, this is so there's no words. And one of the investigators, what he kept saying, he said it in the car and he said it back at the interrogation room. He said, you could have been a deadbeat. You could have just chose not to be in the baby's life. You didn't have to go this route. Just tell her. And he had tried to get her to get an abortion, but Danielle said no. And you could tell he's just coming from this like middle-aged man who's had like life experience, who is just like, why did you do this? You didn't have to do this. And he's like, it was just instincts. It just happened. And so anyway,
How
there
do
you go.
how there's no way of preventing this. Like, this dude was, golly, you can't even. I hope he get everything he deserves in that jail, though. Yeah. I'm quite sure he is too, because it's
so unnecessary. It's so like, this is such an extreme for what? For you to be with Artesia, who you're never going to be with again, because now you're in prison for the rest of your life. And also anyway. All right. You may get the full video. I don't know, because I'm going to be crying the whole time. That's it for this podcast. Thanks for joining and watching.
Court is adjourned.